flip. Okay. Hey, how are you? This is my first YouTube live alone. Well, first YouTube live period, but I wanted to kind of jump in and talk a little bit about me and who I am and what I do and what my page is about, because I haven't done that at this point. So I wanted to, so again, my name is Becky. Then my page is Crochet by Becky. And oh, somebody's here. Hello. I don't know who's here. Anyways, I'm trying to figure all this out. However, my TikTok handle is BeckiDawnette, and all my stuff's on there too. But Crochet by Becky is also on Instagram and on Facebook for anyone who's curious. However, anyways, why I'm here and what my page is about is I am a crocheter and teacher, and I do a lot. I'm doing tutorials. I have quite a few out there, but I'm working through it. I've been crocheting about 15 years. I knit as well. Hey, Shayna. But I haven't done any knitting for quite a few years because I just don't, I'm not very good at it, and I don't prefer it. I really prefer to crochet. So that's it. But I also design, and I do tutorials and have an Etsy page as well with patterns. So there's some of those over there as well. But yeah, I'm here to answer any questions you may have about me. Of course, Shayna, you're the only one here, and you know me pretty well. So here we are. But yeah, I wanted to do also, since I'm live here in a little bit, in a few minutes, I'm going to go ahead and do a tutorial on a short tutorial just on the beginning of how to do the rose twist pattern, stitch pattern, because there's two ways, and after talking with Shayna a little bit this morning, there's two ways to do it. And I'm going to kind of get into those because I think it's been confusing for some folks. Well, it is. It's a new pattern, and it's a little different. It's a little harder for some. But once you get going, it's fast, it's easy, it's fun. It's the most addictive stitch on the internet, in my opinion. So anyways, well, hello, welcome in, anyone who's here. I'm just kind of introducing myself and talking about my page. I've been on YouTube for not very long, maybe 4 months, maybe. Well, I did my very first ones were years ago, and then I ignored YouTube for a real long time. So now I'm back on, and I've been posting regularly with tutorials and videos and things about hey Lita, about my patterns and my Etsy page and all of the funness. So I sell my items and my patterns, but I kind of wanted to talk a little bit more about how to do the rose twist stitch, because there's two ways to start. And Lita, you help me with that too. You and Shayna kind of help me figure all that out. So I'm going to talk about the two different ways to do it, I hope, and do a little short tutorial. I don't know how long this live is going to be because this is my first one and I don't know what I'm doing. So bear with me, everyone. All right, I'm going to move my camera. I'm going to flip it and do the tutorial part. Okay. So, fix my little light here so you can see. I am using the Loops and Threads facets. I like fuzzy yarn. Yarn that's more complicated sometimes. And I'm using a 6.0 hook to do this. Just for okay, so there's two, like I said, there's two ways to start the stitch, just the beginning. So you could start it directly into the chain. And if you guys have questions, hi Mark, just let me know in the chat. I'll try to keep my eyeballs on the chat as well. Like I said, this is new. I haven't gone live here on YouTube before. So thanks everybody for being here. I appreciate it. So I've chained 15. I've chained an odd number. You can start the stitch directly into the chain without doing a foundation row or doing the single crochets. I'm going to show you that part first. Then I'll do the other one. And if you're newer to crochet, you might want to do the foundation row just because it will probably be easier. So we're going to start off with a double crochet. So we're going to skip. So this one, of course, this doesn't count as a stitch. So we're going to skip 1, 2. We're going to go into this third stitch, possibly. There we go. And it's a little harder, I guess, to work directly into the stitch just because it's narrow. So when you do this, this first one, these first couple chains are going to count as a double crochet. All right, and we have a skip stitch here. So we're going to wrap around. We're going to come back to the skip stitch. Oh, thanks, Shayna. I appreciate that. And if you guys hear some beeping, my husband is doing some laser engraving, and so that's his machine. All right, so we're going to cross over. We're going to do, instead of doing a double crochet, we're just going to do a half double. And then from here on out, once you get this first one done, you're just going to repeat that across. So we're going to skip 1, but we're only skipping 1. You don't need to skip 2. We're going to skip 1. We're going to come into this, this stitch. And like I said, I like to work directly into the chains instead of doing a foundation row. I don't know, maybe I'm lazy. And then you're going to do a double, and then you're going to do a half double. Okay, so that is one way to get started. So then you have your double here, and you'll end with a double on the other end as well. All right, so what we're going to do now is I'm just going to show you the other way. So if we do a foundation row, so you can either do a half double foundation, a single crochet foundation, if you know how to do that. And I do have a tutorial, I think, on both of those. You can just do a regular, what most of us do is we'll do the single crochets across, which let's do that real quick. So we're just going to go into the chain, do a single crochet, and we're going to do that across so that I can show you the difference. It'll flip your work a little bit. I mean, it really doesn't. It doesn't really matter. You just need to know which side is the front and which is the back. And how I do it, this would be the front. Oh no, actually this would be the back. The other side would be the front. When you do it with the single crochets, it just flips it. It's not, it doesn't really matter. It's fine. You'll be able to tell the difference, I think. You are a great mother, Shayna. You're fantastic. I appreciate you guys being here. I'm only going to be on, you're the only one here. Hey, Ellie. For a little while, because like I said, I don't know what I'm doing. And how, Shayna, since you are here, how does it look? Because since I'm doing it vertically instead of horizontally. Because I guess on YouTube, more people do the horizontal view. I need to probably do I don't know. There's a lot of ways to set this up, and I might try it on my computer at some point. Oh, you're here. Hi, Lita. Okay, you're still here. Letty, you're still, okay. So when we get to the end, we're going to chain 2, and we're going to turn our work. So we're just flipping it over. Okay, whoops. Flipping it over, turning it like a book, as they say. So we're still going to have our chain 2, but this may be easier for a lot of people. So this one doesn't count. We're going to skip 1, and we're just going to do our double crochet. And I may change how I have the written pattern to do it this way because it's more common than the other way, and it might be a lot easier. Ladies, what do you think? I'm down for suggestions. And then we're going to do a half double in the stitch that we skipped. So again, we're going to go around. We're going to have, here's one stitch. We're going to skip a stitch, skip 1, do a double crochet, come back to the stitch we skipped right here, pull that through, do a half double crochet. And I don't know if you all noticed, but I turn my work kind of sideways because I think it's easier to sometimes pull it through when you're doing the half double, since you're going behind. And go through there. And if I'm going too fast, let me know. I can definitely slow down and do a half double. Looks good. Yeah, I think I will. I'll change it to this version. I think you're right, Letty, because most folks are used to doing a foundation row, any kind of foundation row. If you're doing doing it as the single crochet, and I'll probably write it as a single crochet to do your chain, single crochet across, and then start the pattern. I think it will be a lot easier. I think you are correct. I think I was making it, I just know how I do it, how I like to do it, but I think I'll change it. I appreciate your feedback, ladies, for sure. Half double. See, we have 3 stitches left, which is perfect. I started with a chain of 15, so an odd number. Yeah, and that works out better as well, because then we'll have 14 stitches coming across. And then a half double, ending this row with a double crochet. The other thing that I'm going to recommend, oh, holy cow, hold on, because I'm looking through the camera so I can't see, is what I would recommend to everyone when you get to after we do the single row and we go to do this row again, is to put and we can do that not on this one, but is to put a stitch marker in the end there. So we're going to chain 1, we're going to turn our work, and we are going to use this very first stitch right here, okay, which I know a lot of people skip it, but if you do that, your count's going to be off. So we're going to do a single crochet. We're going to do another single crochet. So you're going to do 2. And now we're going to do a front post. So we're going to go around. This was that double crochet from the other side. We're going to come around and do a single crochet front post. Then it's just a repeat of 1 single and a front post. Now, one thing I can do too to help you guys out is here, you see these 2 bars. We're going to go right above the 2 bars. You can use that as a guide. And that's where we're going to come behind. We're going to go through that little hole right here to do our front post. Pull that yarn around and finish it off. Hopefully this is really helpful, because I know that particular row, doing that front post, especially because in the original video I said back post because you're going behind, but it's a front post because it pushes it to the front, which is so funny. I don't know why I didn't catch that. And then so this will be a new video. And let's do another front post. I know Shorty was, yeah, thank you. I saw that she messaged me too. And so I am going to change that. And I think it will help everybody, because I forget, it'll make it a little bit more beginner friendly. Because it's not a beginner stitch for sure, but it's not hard once you get the handle of it, the hang of it. Okay, so we have 3 stitches left. It looks like we don't, right? So we're down to the end. We're going to do our last front post. And this is where I would put a stitch marker. Okay, so we're going to go through, this is where we did we chained 2 or 3. We're going to go through one of these. If I can get my hook through there. Burp. All right, we're going to pull that through and end with a single crochet. So I would put a stitch marker. I think that is very helpful to put a stitch marker in right there. And we'll do this on every round, because from here you're going to chain 2 again. turn your work over, and I would put a stitch marker, which we'll do. Let me pull I got fuzz over here. Let me pull out a stitch marker. Is that helpful? Is that making sense to you all? Is it helpful to see it done in a different way? Hope so. Let me find a stitch marker. Oh, good. I'm so glad. Yeah, it isn't a beginner. It is definitely not a beginner stitch. It's more of an intermediate stitch, but it's so fun. And once you get the hang of it, it's really a good stitch. Okay, so we're gonna put, I chained 2, and I've decided I do like to chain 2 instead of chain 3. I don't think it matters. I think there's just less of a bump. We're gonna put our fancy little stitch marker right there. And then we're gonna turn our work over, and we're gonna continue the pattern. So one thing that I noticed that I do is when you turn it over, and I think this is really helpful. So we are gonna skip these 2, okay? So we're gonna go, see how this part kind of sticks out towards you? We're gonna wrap our yarn, and that's where we wanna go, okay? We're gonna do our first double right there on the other side of that bump. And we're going to do our half double on the front side of that bump. And that's how my visual works. So then you can see here's a bump, here's a bump, here's a bump, here's a bump, there's a bump, right? So that's where all your double crochets are going to go to the left of the bump. So we're going to skip 1. So we are skipping 2 at the beginning. But from here on out, we're just going to skip 1, go through the bump, go behind them on this side, the left side of the bump, do our double, and then come back to before the bump. So you can see it right here, and do your half double. I think that's helpful. You don't use a stitch marker. I don't typically either. I don't use a stitch marker when I do it, but I think for somebody who is a newer to crochet or newer to the stitch, I think it's very helpful. But stitch markers, I think using just the one over here so you don't lose this chain, because it's really easy to drop a stitch right here, is what I have noticed. But here again, can you guys see? Oh my gosh, the camera. Sorry, I'm trying to get used to this. Here's the bump. And if you look, we're going to turn that. Hold on, let me turn this. So here's one stitch. Here's the second stitch. And you can see how it's a little smaller too if you're looking from the top. We're still skipping 1, but from this front view, I think it's just easier to look for me. I just look for the bump. I hope that makes sense. Can you guys see that? Am I just, randomly chatting? Hello, welcome in everyone who's here. If you are here, please say hi in the chat and let me know if you're a crocheter or who's here, because I've only seen Letty and Shayna. All right, so we're going to do a double crochet on this side of the bump, and we are doing the twisted rose stitch that I am using to make, oh my gosh, so many things. And then we're going to do a half double, and see how it makes a nice little crisscross with the double and then the half double. So what I really like about this stitch is every stitch is different. You're not doing the same stitch for the most part in a row, the same stitch twice in a row, except for that at the very beginning when you do 2 single crochets together. And then we're going to do this one, pull that through, come back to do the half. And then we're going to end this row. We have 1 stitch left. That was our single crochet. And in this last stitch, we're just going to do a double crochet. Boop. Double crochet, chain 1, turn our work. And this would be the front of your work. I do like that because then this is down here. All right, I'm going to change my pattern. Change the pattern just a little bit. I know if I dropped a stitch, it doesn't end on a double. Exactly. So this will help if you, by using that stitch marker, it will help you not draw. And it's really just on the far side with the, when you do the chain 2. That's where I've noticed. So then again here, so we're always going to start with 2 singles. So we're going to have a single crochet. It's the only time you have a repeat stitch is right here. Single crochet. And then we're going to, again, we're going to follow the 2 bars, go around what was that double crochet, pull that through. This is a front post single crochet, and pull that through. So hopefully this is very helpful. Does anybody have any questions about me or about the stitch? You can use this stitch. We've used it for, oh my God. Okay, so I have on Etsy, I have multiple patterns. I have a baby blanket using this stitch. I have a messy bun hat or beanie. I don't know what you want to call it. On Etsy, that pattern is written as well. I have a scarf. We have an infinity scarf. I don't know if that one's posted though. Man, I don't think it is. But I've used this stitch. We're using it for a lot of things. Shayna uses it for, she's made a lot of hats. I'm using the facets just because it shows the stitch so clearly, as opposed to, and see how you have the little rosebuds right here, which is, I just think is just so delightful. I just think it's so dang pretty. Okay, so see how we're at the end and it looks like we're done, and it looks like we only have 2 stitches left. So again, we're going to do that single. We're going to do the front post. And then here's our stitch marker. So we know that we need to have, I don't like where I put that stitch marker, but I know I need to have a single crochet in those doubles. And then fuzz. It's one thing with this facets yarn is you get fuzz, and this is not very easy to frog as well. So I don't recommend, if you're a beginner, to use this one, because if you're going to have to frog a lot, don't use the facets. Use a regular, any of the other weight 4 yarns, I would say. We're going to chain 2 again, and now we're just going to move our stitch marker, because you only need 1 really for this. 1 stitch marker. And I would say definitely if you're a beginner and a beginner to this stitch, I would use 1. Once you get really comfortable, you probably don't need it anymore. But I do recommend it there. And then here we are. So look, we have here's our bump. So we have 2 stitches, and this is our 3rd stitch. So we're going to go into this 3rd stitch. We're going to skip 2 just at the very beginning. And then we're going to come back to do our half double. And so if you look, we still skip this 1 stitch here, and we're just using those 2. And hopefully this really helps. Yeah, it's so pretty. I love facets yarn. It just makes me so happy. It's just a beautiful, beautiful, I don't know. It looks so good with this stitch, I believe. But this stitch looks really good with any yarn. Shayna has used a lot of different yarn, chunky yarn. Oh, I think it looks beautiful with that too. It looks great with a regular weight 4. I like it for the tutorials because I think it just shows off the stitch so well. Look at this color change too. And I love yarn that changes color like that. All right, so there is, and I'm such a visual person. Hopefully this tutorial video is really helpful to anyone who's going to use this stitch. I know a couple of you guys are doing it. Oh, hello, Zelda. How you doing? How are you? Welcome in. Thanks for being here. Nothing with a twisted pattern. Nothing with a twisted pattern in the yarn. Oh, true. Okay. You have I don't what it doesn't show the stitch very well, does it, Shayna? If you use a twisted yarn. Oh, that's good to know. I don't think I've used it, but I think you did try it and it doesn't show the stitch very well, correct? Okay, we're gonna go, and then again, we're at the end, so we're gonna do a double crochet. So you kind of have, so that the chain 3 at the beginning, or chain 2, sorry, the chain 2 at the beginning does count as a double crochet. So you're starting with a double, you're ending with a double, or you're starting with a single and you're ending with a single. So now we're back to the front. And we have 2, and then when you count your rows, I count by 2. So 2, 4, this will be 6. Because it's a repeat, or you can go 1, 2, how many repeats. And for the hat that I've done, with a chunky yarn, like a size 6 yarn, I did 7 repeats. It ended up being a really good, oh, it's too busy. Okay. Ended up being a really good weight. Let me show you. Let me flip this around to my face again. Sorry. I have a couple of hats behind me. My kitchen lights are really bright, so I'm going to turn this that way. Okay. But like this has multi-color, and you can see the pattern, you can see the rows. This one came out really pretty, but this is a messy bun. Where's my back? I'm trying to figure out the best way to seam it, but this one I just did a whip stitch, and the seam is, I think, better. But then you put it on and your bun just comes out through the top. This is 7 repeats. I think this is good. Plus it's long enough that if you want to fold it over, you can fold the brim. But there's this one. I also did it with 2 strands of yarn. I did a pink in a 5 chunky and with a finer blue yarn. This came out really nice. I also did this is another combination of yarns. I did a blue, a solid blue, light blue with a variegated. It's kind of has multiple colors in there. It's like mostly green, but it's like a green and a blue and a little white. But I think it gave it a really nice look to it. But you can see the rows easily. The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This one, I was trying to narrow it, so I did some single crochets, but I do like how you just pull this one turned out the best when I actually followed my own pattern. Because those ones were my tester ones where I was trying to figure out, and I left my hole a little bigger. Because you never know how much hair people have. So you can make it down to like a quarter. You can put a hair tie in here if you want. I don't recommend. I think just the yarn and just pulling it tight. We'll have to do a tutorial on how to do the whole messy bun cap. If you guys are interested, let me know that as well. Oh yeah, doubling up on solid colors is fantastic. I think any of the options, have fun with it. You can do 2 of the same color. You can do multiple colors. You can do, if you have a thinner yarn, maybe you can do like a chunky and like a thin yarn. You can have so much fun. There's so many fun options, I think, to make it look the way you want it to look and add the color. This is just one color. So this yarn, I think I got this at Goodwill. This is one of my Goodwill yarns. Looks like this. So it has like browns and teals, and you can tell by the package that it's old. I don't even know this brand. Country Loom. Yeah, this is old. But it came out great. I think it came out really good. So this kind of yarn, but it doesn't, like Shayna said, you can't see the twist quite as well as you can on this one. if that makes sense. And of course, in the facets, when you do this one, but this turns thin. I would have to do it with something else. Really shows the pattern. But hopefully this tutorial was super, super helpful. Cafe mocha vibe. Ooh, yes, I like that. You, thanks for loving my tutorial. Thanks, Shayna. I appreciate it. But anybody have any questions? I'm not going to do this one very long because this is my first one. But I'm kind of loving YouTube. I think it's really fascinating. I'm really trying to grow over here. So if you're new, welcome in. Please, like and follow all the things. But my social media, if you are on TikTok, I am BeckiDawnette. But on everywhere else, I'm Crochet by Becky. Everywhere else, on every page. I have a Crochet by Becky on the TikTok as well, but I don't use that page. That's just my backup, and I haven't really used it. So, aw. Thanks, Letty. So yeah, if anyone has any questions, I can answer questions, but I'll do another tutorial where we do the whole hat, I think. Do you think? Do the whole thing, but I really wanted to go over, and I'm going to jump in, and I'm going to change the pattern to doing this foundation row to doing either a foundation stitch or the chains and then the single crochets. Just make it universal and easy breezy for everybody, and not so complicated. I don't know if I can or not. I can try. Maybe I can share it because I think it posts it, right? It'll post it on, it saves it, right? That's what Jen said. We'll find out. And if so, I will definitely put it in the cord so that people can watch this one. But I'll probably do another, just a quick tutorial, probably on one of the other platforms or all the platforms. Of just how to do the stitch from the beginning. So I'll pull this one out and start over. Yeah, unless you guys have any questions. Okay, it should. Cool. Thank you guys for being here. And thanks for, all the comments and hyping me up and all the things. It's been about 32 minutes. So for my first YouTube live, I'm going to call it a day. And I appreciate you guys being here. But I really wanted to talk about that and introduce myself to those of you that don't know me. So thanks so much. Like and follow, but I'll be doing more tutorials because I found another cool stitch that I want to show. So I'll be doing that later. You guys all have a great day. Thanks so much for being here, and we'll catch you again later. Bye. Thanks so much. Have a great day. Oh wait, no, I don't want to do that. Okay, now I got to figure out how do I exit? Oh, I exit up here. It's different than on TikTok. So, okay, bye. We'll try this again. Bye. Have a great day.